Just how many similarities can there be between two of HBO's biggest shows? With all of the new faces that we got to meet throughout the 10-episode run of House of the Dragon's debut season, we couldn't help but notice that a good few seem to harbor similarities with characters from the original Game of Thrones series. So, who's who in this list? Let us explain some of the biggest counterparts to you. Surely you picked up on all of them, right? Number 10. Daemon Targaryen and Jaime Lannister. The original bad boys of their respective shows. Both Daemon and Jaime made names for themselves from their opening episodes alone. Daemon raised a glass to the death of his stillborn nephew and was hungry for sitting on the Iron Throne one day. Jaime pushed young Bran Stark out of a window and left him a cripple. Yeah, not the nicest of guys to begin with, were they? Both of these guys started their journey as very untrustworthy and villainous when compared to the other characters alongside them. However, over time things have changed for them both. Both men appear to grow and put their morals a bit more in check, having somewhat of a redemption arc wherever that's possible. Daemon is struck by Rhaenyra and seemed to settle strongly at her side. Jaime sees Cersei for what she really is, and ultimately turned his back on her just in time for winter to arrive. One thing we will say is that the jury is maybe still out on Daemon for the time being, with a further 3 seasons minimum expected to be produced before House of the Dragon comes to a close. There is still time for the show to have Daemon turn his back to his dastardly ways as the Dance of Dragons unfolds. Number 9. Rhaenyra Targaryen and Daenerys Targaryen. The strongest women in Westeros? Oh, there is definitely weight to that statement. Rhaenyra and Daenerys seem to share more than a bloodline and blonde hair. We see from their own shows how they have a birthright to sit on the Iron Throne and have to face off for their power in a world dominated, at least at first, by men. Rhaenyra was the rightful heir to her father, Viserys I, and tradition was broken to allow her, a female, to be next in line for the throne. As the last of the Targaryen bloodline, or so she thought, Daenerys steps out into the world alone and strives to build her strength in numbers as she intends to claim the Iron Throne that was rightfully her family's before Robert Baratheon stepped in. Yes, for sure, both of these women grew to become more independent through all of their hardship and became more than worthy of leadership and sitting on the Iron Throne before their opportunities were taken from them. Rhaenyra's claim was swept away by her little bro Aegon being rushed into a coronation, and Daenerys got a dagger to the gut courtesy of her lover/nephew, Jon Snow. Number 8. Queen Cersei Lannister and Queen Alicent Hightower. Both Cersei and Alicent were thrust into the hierarchy of Westeros in pretty much the same way. Both were married off to the king at the time for some type of ulterior motive, mainly so that their respective houses can be cemented more in the names of power in Westeros. Funnily, both fathers were also hand to the king. I know, serendipitous. But yes, these two women came to grow to be powerful in their own right. Cersei becomes the sole queen of Westeros after agreeing fiery death for all who can stand in her way. Alicent has her son jumping the queue to the throne to ensure that Team Green stays in power, which is going to keep her pretty cushy. See? The color green too! We also can't miss the fact that both women, at least at first, care fiercely for their children and lose their humanity with the more power they get through them. Alicent is most definitely due to be less and less likable the longer her son stays in power. Cersei? Well, she went in and took the throne upon Tommen's death. That says it all. Number 7. Joffrey Baratheon and Aegon Targaryen II. There are a few characters in this universe that you can maybe not be a massive fan of, but deep, burning, eye-twitching hatred? We're looking straight at these two kings of Westeros. Disrespectful and using their power irresponsibly, both Joffrey and Aegon II definitely earned a first-class ticket to hell. Joffrey was evil to his subjects, being especially horrible to his uncle Tyrion and also Sansa Stark. Aegon, so far on the House of the Dragon, has been shown to not have much care for consent with the females of King's Landing, and has been planting his seed all over King's Landing. We got to see Joffrey have a pretty satisfying death. Hopefully, we get to see the same when House of the Dragon has Aegon meeting his maker. Number 6. King Viserys I and Ned Stark. The family men whose senses of humanity were their undoing ultimately. Ned Stark, the Lord of Winterfell, took on the role of Hand of the King, but his strong moral compass and love for his family ultimately lost him his head. Literally. In the case of King Viserys, yeah, his death wasn't from the swift blow of a sword, but his longing for his family to unite and be civil was something he fought for until his dying day, and can be sure to have took its toll on him, along with his drawn-out illness. Also, the deaths of both of these men sparked quite the ruckus across Westeros. Ned's death gave a start to the War of the Five Kings, with Viserys' death and mixed communication to his wife Alicent kicking off the Dance of the Dragons. Oh, how a few less morals could have saved them. Ironic. Number 5. Laenor Velaryon and Loras Tyrell. Examples of how sexuality is still very much in the Dark Ages in the world of Westeros. Both of these guys had a taste for their own sex, and craved a world where they could be accepted and not have to dodge persecution at every turn. The pair went on to have a reliable female protecting their sexuality, with Laenor having his cousin/wife Rhaenyra as a scapegoat, and Loras having his sister Queen Marjorie in his corner. In the end, as far as we know, Laenor had an escape from living a lie by faking his death. Oh yeah, no one is going to recognize you with that shaved head, Laenor. Loras? Well, he didn't get so lucky, did he? Unfortunately, after being ratted out by a former lover. Number 4. Corlys Velaryon and Olenna Tyrell. Noble and wise leaders of their respective houses. Through their times on their shows, both Corlys and Olenna are shown to be very proud individuals. They care for their families and respect what the family name holds along with their traditional values. This probably adds to how a descendant from each house both also found a sense of success in marrying family members off for political gain, with Corlys' son Laenor being married to Rhaenyra Targaryen for at least 10 years, and Marjorie being married into the Baratheons to take the title as queen. Yeah, they love to raise the family profile, clearly. Imagine them being around in real society, keeping up with the Tyrells, the real Velaryons of Driftmark. Got a ring to them, don't they? Number 3. Tywin Lannister and Otto Hightower. We alluded to these two game players earlier on, Tywin and Otto, the hands of the king who kept their foot in the door however necessary. Tywin was shown as a calculating man who, years prior to the events of Game of Thrones, ensured that his daughter Cersei was married off to Robert Baratheon, to place her at the top of the food chain and to have the Lannister name shining more than ever across Westeros. With Otto Hightower, a very similar scenario. Position of power. Sees the king lose his wife and firstborn son in the same day. Instead of taking his grieving monarch for a beer or two after the funeral, he is quick to sweep his daughter Alicent into Viserys' chamber, time after time to have her as a likely candidate for his next bride. Seriously, can we just hope that Otto meets the same end as Tywin? If you know, you know. No toilet talk in this video. Number 2. Larys Strong and Littlefinger. If you follow our channel, you know that we've had our BDI on Larys since his arrival on the show. And if you kept up with Game of Thrones properly, you know exactly what Littlefinger is capable of. Both of these guys have proven to be manipulative and scheming throughout their shows. Manipulative and scheming. Both of these men will kill for their own personal gain, and they'll use strong relationships to climb up the Westeros hierarchy. Larys has become quite a close pal to Alicent Hightower since they met in her younger years, and has manipulated some of his own motives to be of use to Alicent, even becoming quite fond of her feet over that time. But the less said about that, the better. Plus, there's still sure to be a favor being called in with the high-ranking Hightower at some point. Littlefinger was sure to keep his claws tight into the likes of Sansa Stark to help himself in working the Game of Thrones in his own favor. Rightly so, it didn't end well for him. And like a few of the characters on this list, we can only hope the Lord of Harrenhal meets a similar grisly end on screen. Number 1. Sir Criston Cole and Shae. A bit of a sad and unfortunate romance for these two individuals, respectively. Sir Criston and Shae are examples of how you can be burned and want to return the favor when in love with someone of nobility in Westeros. Both of these characters happen to fall in love with someone of a noble household and were betrayed in some way further down the line, then being fueled by hatred. Shae fell in love with Tyrion over a good few seasons of the show, which Tyrion returned. However, when her life became threatened, Tyrion faked being done with her and sent her away thinking she was like dirt off his shoe. This came back to bite him during his trial for Joffrey's murder, when Shae was found and acted as a witness, giving evidence for Tyrion and Sansa plotting the murder together. Ouch! Maybe Tyrion should have written a letter to straighten out his actions? In the case of Sir Criston, he fell in love with Princess Rhaenyra, which led to Rhaenyra losing her virginity to him. When Sir Criston then confessed his love and proposed a life with her, she was quick to shoot him down in favor of her duty and the deal she struck with Laenor. This leads Criston into a life of anger, as he quickly sides with Alicent Hightower in the ongoing years, and holds nothing but resentment for his one-time lover. You see, a lot of similarities with the characters in this show. Did you notice all these? Ooh, one more. The Hound and Lionel Strong. Because, well, they have beards. Okay, clutching at straws now. Think some characters are similar to others? Are there characters we haven't mentioned? Let us know in the comments section below.